Today, in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Karu News, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, Gyan, and Organ Donation India Foundation. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. But today, we are starting a new series, and the series is the Global Youth Conclave. Now, this here, till now, what we have done is we have done the youth conclave where we have the youths from our India. But now we are going globally, and today we are having youths from different parts of the world. And that our topic today is Global Youth Conclave on Holistic Education. But before I will start my program, I would like to extend my special thanks and gratitude to Father Celine Joseph, Director of Edu Skills International, because he was the person who has motivated us and who has organized the youths from around the world. So a special thanks to Father Celine Joseph. Now, coming on the main topic, that is Global Youth Conclave on Holistic Education. Holistic education is a movement in education that seeks to engage all aspects of the learner, including mind, body, and spirit. Its philosophy, which is also identified as holistic learning theory, is based on the premise that each person finds identity, meaning, and purpose in life through connections to their local community, to the natural world, and to humanitarian values such as compassion and peace. Holistic education aims to call forth from people an intrinsic reverence for life and a passionate love of learning, gives attention to experiential learning, and places significance on relationships and primary human values within the learning environment. The term holistic education is most often used to refer to the more democratic and humanistic types of alternative education. Now, to discuss and give their views, we have 8 youths who are participating from around the world, and we have 2 chief guests among us. And I would like to invite my first chief guest. He is Dr. Santosh Kumar Patnaik. Dr. Santosh Kumar Patnaik is the former Managing Director, Indian Railway Finance Corporation. Dr. Patnaik is a strong visionary, multidisciplined management professional with over 3 decades of rich and varied experience across government departments and public sector enterprises of India. He belongs to the 1989 batch of Indian Railways Accounts Services. Dr. Patnaik completed his master's in applied geology from Indian Institute of Technology, IIT ISM, in 1985. He did master's in public management from Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy, National University of Singapore, in 2005. He did doctor in philosophy, PhD in management from Birla Institute of Technology, Mesra, Ranchi, in 2019. Apart from holding key positions in Indian Railways from 1989 to 2013, Dr. Patnaik has the distinctions of holding key management positions in the state and central public sector enterprises for nearly a decade, both on deputation and on absorption. After taking voluntary retirement from Indian Railways in 2013, Dr. Patnaik joined Heavy Engineering Corporation as Director Finance from 2013 to 2017, and then as Managing Director of Indian Railway Finance Corporation from 2017 to 2018. For his exemplary work in office automation and computerization, Dr. Patnaik was decorated with the prestigious Railway Minister's Award in 1999. In his last assignment as MD IRFC in 2017, Dr. Patnaik achieved a unique milestone by taking the lead to raise $500 million for the Indian Railways at a competitive price through issue of climate bonds green bonds in the overseas market, which incidentally is first of its kind for the railway transportation sector in an emerging economy like India. Right now, Dr. Patnaik is pursuing his own ideas and passion for institution building and academics. Welcome, Dr. S.K. Patnaik on our show. Dr. Patnaik, as you know, today we are starting this new series where we are taking global youth, the youth from around the world. And because now with your so much rich experience which you have and your interest in the academics and you are interacting with the youth globally, we would like to know your views on Global Youth Conclave on Holistic Education. Dr. Santosh Kumar Patnaik, please.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. Thanks for inviting me to the first Global Youth Conclave on a very interesting topic, that is holistic education. I think during last couple of years or so, this topic has gained a lot of importance in the context of India. And I'm sure the participants today, Mr. Ankit, George, Ajit, Prezu, Leshan, Makananalu, Ananya, and Munawar, representing 5 different countries, or 6 different countries, and they are going to be actively participating in today's discussion. It's quite interesting and exhilarating. Let me start my my thought process with a backdrop for this interesting topic. You all know that our planet Earth is almost like 4.5 billion years old since its existence within the solar system. In July 2018, scientists reported that the earliest life on the land may have been a bacteria, which is almost like 3.22 billion years old. Now, if you come to the aspect of human evolution, it can be traced back to the Stone Age that started about 2.6 million years ago, and it lasted till 3300 BC in 3 different parts. Started with the Paleolithic, then Mesolithic, and then Neolithic. All of you are even aware of the fact that the controlled use of fire was likely an invention of our ancestor, Homo erectus, during the early Stone Age, that is the lower Paleolithic. The end of the Stone Age was then followed with the Bronze Age. That's between 3300 BC to 1200 BC. That's the time when the Bronze Age on the Indian subcontinent began and came to be known as the Indus Valley Civilization. What followed next was the Iron Age, 1200 BC to 600 BC, when the human civilization evolved further extensively, and the people then was using iron for most of its developmental activities. The end of the Iron Age is generally considered to coincide with the Roman conquest. And the history books tell us that it was succeeded by Antiquity, and then the Middle Age, and now, of course, we are in the new ages of innovation and modernity. But have you ever given a thought for some time that are we still continuing to exist in the Iron Age or not? The answer is an emphatic yes. The modern civilization is confined to a metaphor called Iron Age. In sociology, the iron cage is a concept introduced by Max Weber to describe the increased rationalization inherent in the social life, particularly in Western capitalist societies. The Iron Age thus traps individuals in systems based purely on the teleological efficiency, rational calculation, and control. and the education system prevalent is no exception to it. Education, as we know, is an instrument of social transformation. In a broader sense, it's about building human character and capabilities to realize full potential for ourselves and for our civilization at large. Now, how the education has taken two different shapes. One is the traditional, and now we call about the holistic education. Traditional education emphasizes results in separate and unrelated subjects. By contrast, holistic education focuses on the processes of learning and teaches different subjects as an interrelated whole. Now, if you ask me broadly, what the holistic education inculcates in a student, number one, it instills curiosity and develops better communication and social skills. Number two, makes connection in a subject and thereby improves one's creative skills. Third, the most important is develop psychological, social, and emotional growth. Underline this: psychological, social, and emotional growth. And the fourth one is makes learning a natural and engaging process. So, because of this all-round efficacy in the education, holistic education is now preferred over the traditional education. Now, if you ask me what are the 5 important aspects of the holistic development, I think Mr. Lal has already sounded on it. One, it takes care of your 5 different aspects of growth. One is physical, second is emotional, third is social, fourth is spiritual, and fifth is mental. Now, the next question which comes to our mind: why at all we are, craving for the holistic education? Now, so many scholars and authors, they have propounded many theories and hypotheses for why the society should adopt the holistic education. But the one which impressed me most is one by the eminent British physicist, mathematician, radio engineer, and parapsychologist by name G.N.M. Tyrrell. He was a disciple of Marconi, the inventor of radio. He very interestingly mentions about 2 different problems which are intricately associated with human life and evolution. The first is the convergent problems. Convergent problems are man's most prevalent means for useful invention. The problems they create by a process of abstraction, and then this men find out solution, and finally they are captured in written books, and they are written, and this is passed on to others, not within one generation, but it is passed on from one generation to the other. Now, the second set of problems, which are known as the divergent problems, it forces a man to strain himself to a level above himself, bringing love, goodness, and truth to others' life. But it needs a higher force to resolve it. It's not within the competence of the human being to resolve the divergent problem. The physical sciences and the mathematics, as it is practiced today, are mostly concerned with convergent problems. That is why they can progress cumulatively, and each generation can begin where their forebears left it. So dealing with the convergent problems are, however, doesn't lead to life, but away from it. Now, all divergent problems can be turned into convergent problems by a process of reduction, and that's what a human being always tries to endure for it. The result, however, is the loss of higher forces to ennoble the human life, And thereby it brings degradation not only in the emotional part of our nature, but also our intellect and moral character. These signs are now visible everywhere today, in whether you call it the Eastern society or the Western society, wherever it is in the world today, where you find that the divergent problems are brought within the purview of convergent problems, and we try to find resolutions for that. So there is moral degradation everywhere. Now, having said that, let me ask you a simple question. Or no, what should be a role of a teacher in a holistic education? A holistic teacher should not go for the conventional learning. Rather, it should be he should act as a facilitator of learning for the students. The traditional role of teachers has become one of as an instructor who drills or pours information, facts, into a student's head, treating knowledge as a content. That means the knowledge remains within a very finite scope. But this archaic model has been reinforced by the computer age of how information gets processed. So it has become redundant. Information or fact sharing or teaching to the students is already a redundant process. So the best part of it to inculcate the holistic education is to go as a facilitator. A teacher should go as a facilitator. Now, if you ask me the next question, what can be the strategies for a teacher to implement the holistic education? I say holistic education is embedded to the experiential learning. So unless until the teacher shares his experiences and allows the students to share their experiences, the proper atmosphere will not be developed to impart the holistic education. Now, the strategies, in my own viewpoints, one is, first, we should encourage relationship across all dimensions of students' lives. Second, make learning a happy learning, purely relevant to the students' experiences. And we should impact the holistic learning in such a way that it should act as a bridge between home and school. In the process, we can engage the whole community and decolonize the classroom. So with this beginning remarks on my viewpoints on the holistic education, I very much look forward to listen to my co-speaker, Mr. Bijnath Pandey, followed by the students, the 8 of them who have come from different parts of the world. And later on, I'll be ready to take on all questions from the students at large. Thank you very much, Mr. Goel.
Thank you very much, Dr. Patnaik, for giving your views and explaining what is holistic education. And as Dr. Patnaik said, it's going to decommunalize decommunitize the classroom. Something new concept, although it's very, very old. But if we will have this holistic education, it will definitely be the future for many countries or many places, because we require such type of holistic education everywhere, because this is the need of the hour today. Thank you very much, Dr. Patnaik, for giving your views. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist, the chief guest, and he is Mr. Bijnath Pandey. Mr. Bijnath Pandey is the Senior Manager and Partner Marketing Viceroy at Bengaluru. He is marketing and communication professional with close to 12 years of industry experience in the IT services and hospitality industries. Mr. Bijnath Pandey has been associated with organizations like Intel, L&T, TS, DXC, Mindtree, Yatra.com, and Oberoi Hotels in various capacities. He is also a freelance anchor with 1,000+ shows in India and abroad. He enjoys interacting with the students and frequently writes on Quora on career matters. He loves playing table tennis, and is highly fond of gardening. Welcome, Mr. Baijnath Pandey, on our show. Mr. Baijnath Pandey, you have heard what Dr. Santosh Kumar Patnaik has mentioned, and he clearly advocating for this holistic education. We would like to know now your views on the holistic education in our first Global Youth Conclave. Mr. Baijnath Pandey, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Goel, for that generous introduction. I was overwhelmed at it, and like you said, that I have heard very with great intent to what our another chief guest, Dr. Patnaik, was saying. So first and foremost, Mr. Goel, Chairman, Organ Foundation, Indian Foundation, and GAN. Our chief guest, Dr. Santosh Patnaik, former Managing Director of the Indian Railways Finance Corporation, Father Salim, our youth guests from the various parts of the globe, the young students who are also the budding leaders, dear media, and all our viewers joining us today live here. Good morning from India, and maybe a good afternoon or good evening based on which part of the world you are joining us today. And a warm welcome to each one of you. It's indeed an honor for me to be sharing a dais with eminent personalities like you. And as I said, I'm completely overwhelmed at it. So talking about this concept of holistic education, let me be very honest. So last month when Father Salim, he approached me and he invited me to speak at this forum. Definitely I felt very happy about it. I also felt very humbled. It also reminded me of another very important concept in English grammar, which is called as superfluous words, something very similar to redundancy in English grammar. I'm sure most of you would have heard about what superfluous words are. Basically, it's about using unnecessary words to highlight the importance of another word. So if I have to take an example, a lot of people tend to say very necessary. But if you look at the two terms, very necessary, right? Very and necessary, they don't have to go hand in hand, because necessary in itself means very important. So the term, or rather the word very, is superfluous here. It's not needed. Another example, let's say if I have to take to explain it, could be true facts. A lot of people tend to say that it's a true fact. But factually speaking, if it's a fact, it has to be true. What it means is that we do not have to use this word true. And if you're wondering why I'm talking about English grammar here in this forum where we should be talking about holistic education, there is a reason behind it. Because when I heard of this word holistic education, it rang a bell in my head. I started to think, isn't education by essence and its true meaning supposed to be holistic? I mean, that's exactly the purpose of education. So if we use another word before it, another adjective like holistic, it's superfluous. It's not really required, because education in itself is it's supposed to be holistic. But unfortunately, that's not the case. When I started to think about it, I also realized that education, at least in today's world, like Dr. Patnaik also pointed out, it's not as holistic as it was supposed to be, or it was meant to be. And I feel sad to say this, but for many, education has become just a business. And in such times, I feel it gets extremely important. It's very crucial that we just take the right steps to make holistic education a part and parcel of our society. So my hearty congratulations, first of all, to Mr. Lal and the entire team for organizing this conclave, and then everyone else who is joining us here, because you could be listening to this and we all could be learning from this. And that's the whole purpose and objective of this conclave that we have. So now that you know what I spoke about a little bit about what holistic education could be, or rather what education could be, in order to actually deep dive into what holistic education, it's important for us to understand what education is, what are its objectives, what are the core pillars of education. So this reminds me that there are 4 different pillars of education, which has not been given by me, but it is as per UNESCO. So they say there are 4 different pillars, and the first one is learning to know, the second one is learning to do, then there is learning to live, and learning to be. Just dwell a little bit into all these 4 pillars, because I believe this could be foundation of what I'm going to talk a little later. So the first one, learning to know. So to know yourself, others, your surroundings, and almost anything and everything. That's where that's where learning starts from, education starts from. The second pillar is learning to do. to do anything. It could be something like even singing, or maybe playing, or learning mathematics, or to build something, or to create something. So yeah, that's the second pillar. So what's the third pillar? The third pillar is learning to live, which is extremely important. And somehow I feel that, what in today's context of education, that could be missing a little bit. So learning to live with yourself, learning to live with others, and being good human beings, because at the end of the day, we are all social animals, and education's purpose is to help us be good human beings, and to encapsulate the entire society and surrounding that we have. So how do we live peacefully? That's the third pillar. And the fourth pillar, which is my favorite, is learning to be. What it means is that learning or education is not something, it's just a project that you study, that you pursue, let's say an MBA, or maybe master's degree or PhD, and you're done. It is a lifelong process, and it's evolutionary in nature. So let's say if you see what education was hundreds of years ago to what it is and what it could be in future, it must evolve. That's the whole purpose and objective of education. I mean, this in fact reminds me of a quote by Albert Einstein. So he said once that education is not the learning of facts. In fact, it's the training of mind to think. So if we are able to train our mind how to think in the right direction, I think the true purpose of education will be achieved. And that's where the fourth pillar comes, because it's learning to be, it's training your mind to be, to improve constantly with respect to time. Now that I've spoken about the four pillars, I'm sure it also explains the core objectives of education, and why education should be by essence holistic. So if you look, a little closely at the meaning of education, as I said, that it's supposed to be holistic, and but like I said before as well, that's not the case anymore. But that's definitely the need of the hour. Holistic education has to be if not reinvented, that definitely it has to be propagated by anyone and everyone. And this is a personal opinion that I have. So let's understand, by definition, what holistic education is. I mean, I did hear Dr. Patnaik also; he's also spoken about it. But let me just talk about it a little bit. So it's an approach, like he also spoke before. It's an approach to learning where we try to address the emotional, social, ethical, and academic needs. It's not that we're focusing on only one need, which is academics, and academics only. It's also about understanding your society, your own emotions, the emotions of others. What is ethics? What is morality? With all due respect, but you'll find there are great universities in the world, but they miss out on the ethical aspects of education. And no wonder some of the greatest scams that have happened, those were done by people who are highly educated, but probably, and most probably, they did not understand holistic education. They missed on a very important aspect of holistic education, which is the ethical, the social, and the emotional aspects of education. So the stress, I believe, should be on creating positive environment, which is part of holistic holistic education. It's about providing services that support academic as well as non-academic. So if somebody wants to play or wants to excel in sports, that can also be part of holistic education. Here, like I said, the students are encouraged to reflect about their actions, that how their actions are going to impact themselves, the others, and the overall thinking. So I believe I've been able to speak and help you understand a little bit what holistic education is. So now let's take some of the popular models, and I have a smile here, and you will get to understand that why I'm talking when I'm talking about it, and I also have a smile, but that will come a little later. So the four typical models which you'll find, which are common and at the same time quite acceptable worldwide. So the first one that I could figure out was community school. So here, I mean, the idea is that people find meaning through connections with their community, with their teachers, and in fact, even the societies and families, or maybe even organizations for that matter. Like I said, education's purpose is to be. So it's not that, you done with your college, after that, you don't have anything else to do. So when you're working, there's some kind of education happening, and that's where community schools come into picture. The second model, which is it's called as interdisciplinary coursework. So for example, there could be subjects, and the stress here, in fact, is that you study or you learn in a way that there are multiple subjects involved in one topic. So for example, an architect by profession, he also understands drawing and art. Similarly, when you start a high level of physics, you will see that there is an integration of mathematics and physics. So this is where interdisciplinary coursework comes. I'm just sharing some examples with which we all can relate with, not necessarily that it has to be the only way, but then yes, that's what the second model is. The third one is, and I am quite fond of it because this is something that I practiced during my MBA days as well. So when I was pursuing my MBA, I practiced this and it helped me immensely, which is self-guided learning. Here, teachers will allow the students to learn at their own pace and in their own style. Like Dr. Patnaik, I could see that the students were smiling, and that was one reason that I also had a smile some time back when you said that the education method has become as such, the pedagogy has become as such these days, that we are force feeding the students that you have to learn this. This is what you have to do. This project you have to finish by tomorrow, otherwise there will be repercussions. That's not the focus here in self-guided learning, because it is an intrinsic motivation in front of us all to learn. So the self-guided learning will help you that you learn at your own pace, in your own style. Of course, the teaching faculty, non-teaching faculty, and the surrounding would be there to help you out, to clarify your doubts. But then yes, basically you're learning because you want to learn, and you're learning by yourself mostly. And the fourth model, which is my personal favorite, and it completely changed my outlook towards life, which is experiential learning. So honestly speaking, I had not heard of this concept much some 5 years back. And unlike the words just experiential learning. So what it is, it's basically your hands-on educational experiences. So you get to do things. It's like a child, when a child is born between 0 to 3 years or maybe 5 years of age, you will see that the child is trying to figure out everything by touching something, by sensing something. So all these senses, their emotions, the kid would use to understand. And that's also learning, right? That's exactly what happens in experiential learning, and that's why I find it my favorite. And like I said, I heard only about it only some 5 years back when I met Father Salim at the Unique Institute, which is there in Mangalore, India. And when I went to interact with the students and when I started to speak to them, I could feel that, and I could clearly see, not just feel that, the students were being encouraged to learn by experiences, by doing things. Till date, I remember that, there were a couple of students and they were working on a project which was creating some video. And I felt, come on, Father. I mean, they are some young students. They are just in their first year of graduation, and you are making them such huge things. I don't think that's practical. They would be able to turn out a great job. But honestly speaking, trust me, after a few days, when I saw the final output, I was completely aghast. I was shocked. And that's when I realized the true impact of holistic learning or experiential learning can make in the life of anyone for that matter. And I became a big fan of that from that day, because you're doing it by feeling everything. You're doing it on your own. So great. And like I said, these are the 4 different models which are generally there as far as holistic education is concerned. And I'm sure that's going to be extremely helpful. That also reminds me that I'm a hotel management graduate, and here also close to 50% of the stress was on doing things. And probably that's one reason that it has been more than 15 years. I still remember the concepts that I learned during my hotel management, because I used to do things. We had close to 50% of practical, and those concepts are still fresh in my mind. And I take great pride that the kind of learning that I was imparted, it was not just rote learning. It was holistic education. Dr. Patnaik also spoke about the benefits and what are the strategies. So I would not really dwell into that, of course, but just to touch upon the strategies are as such that it tries to create strong relationship between the student and the teacher. It also encourages self-confidence. It incorporates emotional reflection, and the benefits also we have spoken about it. So it's the best part of holistic education is that it's helping you improve not just your academic achievement, but it's also helping you enhance your mental and emotional well-being, which is a topic of great concern in today's time. I see that my nieces who are in their 13, 14 years of age, and they use words like they're stressed, they are depressed. And I feel that somewhere or the other, the need of holistic education and and it has to be incorporated, because holistic education talks about your emotional well-being as well. It just doesn't talk about academic achievement. It talks about problem solving. It talks about a reduced impact of inequities, extremely important again in today's world, that that we talk about equity, which may not be spoken about, taught in the traditional form of education. I'm sure the topic is answers that we could go on and on and on, but I would take a pause here and would like to end my talk with a quote by what Malcolm S. Forbes said. So he was an American entrepreneur, most prominently known as the publisher of the Forbes magazine. He was not the founder; it was his father who was the founder, but then he was the publisher there. And he said something which I found extremely impactful and worthy being shared here. So he said, the purpose of education is to replace an empty mind with an open one. Think about it. I hope our session today and the talk that we are going to have here, the discussion that we are going to have here, the holistic approach towards education that we're taking will be able to open a few minds. Thank you very much once again, and great learning experience to you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baijnath Pandey, for giving your views about the holistic education. And he says 4 pillars or the 4 models of education. He explained each and everything. And he says his favorite is experiential education. That is very much required. But I think nowadays, the new education which is happening around the world, the children of 2 or 3 years old of age, they have been trained now for the experiential education, which is required, and that's why the holistic education aim can be achieved. And as rightly Mr. Baijnath Pandey has given the credit to Father Salim Joseph for giving this education, holistic education, or the experiential education, a new way, at least in India. That is a very, very credible thing for him. Thank you very much, Mr. Pandey, for giving your views. Now I would like to invite our youth guest, and we will allot the time about 5 minutes to them, each of them. They can speak for 5 minutes. First, they have to introduce themselves, their name, if they are working, they have to tell the organization. If they don't want to tell the organization, whatsoever, whether they are in the banking sector or a whatsoever sector they are. If they are studying, they should give the class or standard where they are studying, as well as their institution name. And then they have to give their city and the country, because it's a global conclave. So our viewers would like to know from which country you are. So my first youth guest is Mr. Ajit Joseph. Mr. Ajit Joseph, you have heard our chief guest, Dr. Santosh Kumar Patnaik, as well as Mr. Baijnath Pandey. Now we would like to know your views on holistic education. Mr. Ajit Joseph, please.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. Hello, everyone. Let me introduce myself first. I am Ajit Joseph P., currently pursuing my MBA at St. Aloysius Institute of Management and Information Technology, Bangalore, India. First of all, I would like to thank Father Salim and the Media House for this great opportunity. I'm sure these 5 minutes are not enough to tell my experience on holistic learning for sure. I was overwhelmed when Baijnath Pandey was telling his experience at Unique EduSkills International, and the whole idea of holistic education was implemented at Unique EduSkills International for sure. When he was highlighting the 4 pillars of education, each pillar, while he was highlighting, I could feel with my heart that, okay, this is what I have experienced throughout. Thank you for reflecting it back again. And then I was trained under Father Salim at Unique EduSkills International for 3 years, and I was completely changed as a person right now. To be precise, I will be going through some of my experiences that I have been through. In the beginning, I lacked some major skills that is necessary for me getting into a corporate field in the future. Father Salim knew that I lacked instruction receiving skill in particular, and that could definitely result in my termination after getting a job. Knowing this, he gave me the lab assistant post, and he gave me intense training focusing on developing this particular skill. Eventually, I learned it, and even now I'm getting better. At this point, I would like to thank Father Salim in his absence for guiding me and being my mentor throughout. This has given me enough confidence to face all the future challenges. Experiential learning also made me emotionally stable, and also it helped me to focus on solutions rather than stuck thinking about the problem. Another aspect I would like to stress about holistic learning is that, like Vaisnath Pandey told, nothing is taught or spoon to us, be it a skill or a syllabus or anything, nothing is spoon to us. Everything is learned through in-hand experiences because, like everybody of us here know, the things that we feel by our hearts cannot be forgotten. This could be one of the reasons why I still remember most of the life lessons that Father Salim has took me through. Like I said, words are not enough to express what I have been through. But finally, I would like to tell you one thing, that I assure any student who is going through this kind of education will never have to look back in his life. That I have experienced in my life, and I have been recommending it to all of my friends, that at least in the next generation, people will have to get their kids go through holistic education. Like he said, in the end, we should have an open mind than having replacing things, filling things inside the head. That concept has to be taken away. We should have an open mind to get things. So once again, I thank everyone for that great opportunity, and happy learning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ajit Joseph, for giving your views. Now, my next youth guest is Miss Lesson Johnny. Miss Lesson Johnny, you have heard our chief guest, Dr. Santosh Kumar Patnaik, as well as Mr. Bajnath Pandey, as well as the earlier youth guest. We would like to know from you your views on holistic education. Miss Lesson Johnny, please.
Hello, very good morning to all. Actually, Mr. Dr. Santosh Pandey and our Bajnath Pandey and Ajit already mentioned about the holistic learning.
Miss Lesson, can you please introduce yourself first, please?
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Actually, my name is Lesson Johnny. I'm from UK. And I did my nursing in Dr. M.B. Shetty Memorial Trust, Mangalore. So in 2008, I moved to UK for my further studies, and it's a career development. After that, I am working in one of the NHS trust in Redditch, Birmingham. So I want to talk about the holistic education approach. So in my view, it's the holistic education is a comprehensive approach to the education. It's the strength-based approach. So in the traditional learning, what we are learning is like a force feeding, or it's like the teacher is always the center of the thing. So in the holistic education, the learner is the center. That's the main difference. So in this type of learning, actually we are molding the students or the learner in their all dimensions, like a physical, mental, and spiritual. It's in this learning, actually, it makes children to prepare for their future and help them to tackle their life uncertainties. So it is really important, holistic learning. So it is happening through in my view, it is happening through the reflective practice. So we need to focus on the holistic approach of learning. In UK, we are doing the holistic approach of learning. So the students, they are really enjoying this learning because there won't be any difficulties or any hassles, and nobody is forcing to do, you need to finish this, or you need to, it's not in that way. They are molding the student as a whole. So it is really important. So the holistic education, instilling the children or the learner to become productive in their life. So the holistic education giving us more chance to grow ourselves in all the dimensions. This is my view. And this, actually, I just want to mention one more thing. Through my learning experience, actually, I recently joined in EduSkills International as a part of my OET learning. So we have only one mentor in that, and that is Dr. Salim Joseph. His approach is that it's approach to learning is the holistic approach to education, and he taught us in a way. He was saying, love the subject so that it is easy for you to understand, and then you can fully fully fly in your own way and your own colors. So love the subject, then you can fully involve with your studies. That is really strike me, so that I could achieve my OET record score with Father Salim's under guidance and his strategies. So I'm really thankful to Father Salim. Even though I am a nurse, I was doing a holistic approach to my patients, everything. But in my studies, I never did this. And because of Father Salim Joseph, he helped me to get into this strategy, because I did my most of the learning in India. And you all know in India, we are education is like a teaching, is like only the academic thing. I'm not saying anything like oppose, but that's the reality. We are not getting enough time, all going with a curriculum basis. So in my view, this need to be changed, and the teaching goes beyond the academic education. So if anybody is following this strategy, like the holistic education strategy, they can change their whole life without knowing themselves. So it is molding the people or the learner or the students become as a whole, like a spiritual or the creative, or in all the ways it's molding. So it is really important for each and everyone. And it is always happening through the reflective practice, and it's a strength-based practice. So it is molding everyone. This is my opinion about the holistic education. So if for my advice to the future generation, or the future, or the youth, try to follow is the holistic education through your life, so you will be succeed in your entire life.
Okay. Thank you very much, Miss Les and Johnny, and salute to you. You are doing such a good work as a nurse in UK, and we know this last 2 years was so difficult time, and I'm sure this holistic education has helped you, and you are working day and night. So the credit goes to the holistic education and to you for doing the work and sharing your views. Thank you very much, Miss Les and Johnny. Now I would like to invite my next youth guest, and he's Mr. George Jose. Mr. George Jose, you have heard our chief guest, Dr. Santosh Kumar Patnaik and Mr. Bajnath Pandey. Now we would like to, and as well as the earlier youth guest, now we would like to know your views on holistic education. Mr. George Jose, please.
Sure, thank you for the opportunity, and thanks for the media group for giving me such a wonderful opportunity to be a part of it. And first of all, hello everyone. I'm George Jose, pursuing my MBA in Lambton College, Toronto, Canada. And I was a student of Father Salim for 3 years during my graduate study. Actually, those 3 years really gave me an eye opener to the holistic holistic learning kind of experience. And maybe this is one of the reasons I am here doing my master's in Canada. Father Salim, through his concept of personalized education, has taught me life skills and also INTS that has helped me to reach here in Canada. Because those 3 years were really eye-opener to me. And the experience that I have got through the education strategy and style of Father Salim was really helpful me for here in Canada. Because here we are working under a strict schedule, and also lot of deadlines, projects, presentations, where I have got a experience back home at India under Father Celine's guidance. So I was really into holistic education back at India that helped me here to further pursue my career. And I was really happy for that. And what I really got from holistic learning was practice make man perfect. That is what we usually hear. But I really feel practice make man improve. That the practice really make us to improve ourselves. So that is what really holistic learning means to me. Because perfection, I never feel there is something called perfection in it. There might be, but for me, I really feel practice make us really improve. So I am grateful to Almighty God and my mentor Father Salim for making me the person I am today. Have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Georgios. And we understand you are joining from Canada. It's quite late in the night, but you are there. It's a very good thing. So, although viewers, as you know, that's global the youth conclave is a very good thing, but the challenges are the time difference, because someone like Mr. Johnny is joining from UK, and I'm sure the timing is quite early in the morning. Mr. George is from USA, Canada, sorry. So there the time is quite late in the night. So, but still they are there to share their views and for the benefit of all the viewers, and especially the youth, that they understand what is holistic education. Thank you very much. Now, please keep your thing on mute unless I will not take the name. Okay, sorry for the disturbance. Now I would like to invite my next youth guest, and she is Miss Anyana. Miss Anyana, you have heard our chief guest, Dr. Santosh Kumar Patnaik, as well as Mr. Baijnath Pandey, as well as the earlier youth guest. Now we would like to know your views on the holistic education. Miss Anyana, please. Now, please. Yes, please. Go ahead.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening to one and all present here from various parts of the world. It gives me an immense pleasure to be part of this August occasion. I'm Ananya SM, MSc Clinical Psychology graduate from Katil Ashokpai Memorial Institute of Allied Health Sciences, Shimoga, Karnataka. I met Father Salim
and she's excuse me, and she's from India. Yes, please go ahead.
I met Father Salim Joseph when I was.
You have muted yourself, please.
When he visited our institution, and I was so impressed, and he took 1 hour class to us, and I was so impressed by the way he took our class, and also the way he explained and made us experience how to remember things, and how to analyze patients and stuff. So I was so impressed. And also one of the reasons why I was so impressed by him was the way his personality is as an educator. So it impresses me a lot even today. And also one more point to add on to that is, as a psychology student, I know how we learn about how brain works, how the brain process things to learn new concepts. So whatever Father Salim was explaining was in so sync with how a brain works. So I think it is so scientific, and it is a more holistic as well as scientific approach for learning. That is what I understood through this process. As a part of this educational process, experiential learning, he asked us to do so many things, assignments like making a video, and now it is helping so many people how to make a sentence. So even Layson was sharing her experience and sharing that it was so useful. I never thought, when I was initially doing that video, I never thought that it can be so helpful for people. I just did it because Father asked me to do as an assignment. So I'm really happy that many students are taking benefit of those videos. And also, I'm very grateful for Father for giving me such an wonderful assignments and tasks. Prior to knowing about this experiential learning, I had very dysfunctional beliefs about learning or scoring high marks or making notes. Usually, I used to think that learning meant like learning from A to Z. You should know from A to Z everything, and by hearting everything. And also, to be the topper, I need to study for 20, 27, 24 into 7. And also, I could make, like, I also had this belief that I should make notes for all the topics in my syllabus and stuff like that. But later, this experiential learning made me understand that, like, knowing A to Z is not necessary. You just need to remember the key points. That is the key to learning. And also, you need not spend 24 into 7 in learning. You can do whatever other activities you want, and also you can learn in a minimum time the maximum amount of stuff by remembering the key points. And also, he taught me ways to do notes and how we can he calls it insultingly small points. We should break our syllabus into insultingly small topics and learn each day at least one topic from our syllabus. So this was very useful for me when I was studying my when I was preparing for my second year MSc Clinical Psychology. And also, it's not just about the academics part. He taught us so many things, especially I could feel the way he teaches, and the while teaching the things that he mentions, like how as a psychologist I should be with the patient, how I should understand their language, what are the things I should observe. So all these things, no, you usually no textbook will give us. So only a teacher, especially like Father Salim, can teach those things. So I'm so grateful to be his student, and also I thank everyone here for giving me this opportunity to share my experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ananya. And I would like to invite my next youth guest, and he is Mr. Ankit. Mr. Ankit, you have heard our chief guest, Dr. Santosh Kumar Patnaik, as well as Mr. Baijnath Pandey, as well as earlier youth guest. Now, we would like to know your views on holistic education. Mr. Ankit, please.
Thank you very much, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, greetings to all viewers and the panelists here. And thank you, Sir Lal Goel, for giving this opportunity. And thank you, Father Salim, in his absence, although he's not here. Starting with the holistic learning, let me just...
Please introduce yourself first.
Okay, I'm sorry. My name is Ankit. I come from Patiala, Punjab. I currently run my institute here for IELTS. I am a graduate from Mangalore University under the guidance of Father Salim Joseph. Okay, now coming to the holistic learning, I would highlight one line what Mr. Patnaik sir said here about an educator being a facilitator. Because whenever it's about holistic learning, you cannot take a trainer, because a trainer becomes the center and he then takes the trainee at the center. How do I say that? A trainer needs to understand emotional, social, and intellectual needs of its trainee. For example, when we were at EduSkills, we were made to write a lot, first of all. Okay, through that, Father used to understand our emotional, social, and intellectual needs. There might be a case where, let's suppose Ajit or George or me, we might not have the same kind of difficulty. Maybe I'm intellectually weak or socially good. Maybe Ajit is not emotionally stable. So what he does is he used to balance this in each one of us so that we become a good person as a whole, who should have the knowledge as well as the skills. Now coming to the skills, as Mr. Baijnath Pandey, he was telling us that how we were able to do things within a day and which he thought was impossible. And he certainly mentioned about the 4 pillars, doing things Of course, I'll give you for an example. We were made to write a lot of emails. Okay, by doing that, let's suppose by doing that, we actually understood how an email works. Now that is more about taking us into the digital literacy. It's more about inculcating the skills in us. Suppose a trainer just lets you know that this is a way or a method one need to do an email, but that's not what requires. What is required is you certainly need to practice it. The more you practice, as George said, that practice actually improves you. And the more you practice, you actually improve it and become more competent. Similarly, we were given with the task where we used to take classes for others. And what made us to realize in that is we actually got to learn about communication. We developed that skill, how we can communicate with people and how we can actually teach. That happened through the pedagogy of Father Celine, where we were made to take classes for others, for our own peers. Through that, not just the communication skills got endured, but also the logical reasoning and the critical thinking, how you can actually think and then deliver it to the people, which is highly needed, as Mr. Bajinath Pandey could actually witness that how all these skills are missing in corporate world. Well, this is what I would like to say. At the end, I would just say that holistic learning is truly and truly practiced at EduSkills, and Father Celine has devised its methodologies, which has actually worked and been working, and we are the witness for it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much, Mr. Ankit Singh, for giving your views. Now, I would like to invite my next youth guest, and he is Mr. Munawar. Mr. Munawar, you have heard our chief guest, Dr. Santosh Kumar Patnaik, as well as Mr. Bajnath Pandey, and you have also heard the earlier youth guest. Now, we would like to know your views on holistic education. Mr. Munawar, please. Please unmute. Please unmute.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me now?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting me, and I really want to thank the EduSkills and the team members, and especially Dr. Father Salim Joseph, who has been very kind and patient to me. First of all, I would like to describe about a good mentor.
Please introduce yourself first.
Okay, sorry. My name is Munawar Masih, and I'm from Pakistan, Lahore. And presently, I'm working as a scrub senior staff nurse in Shaukat Khanum Memorial Cancer Hospital and Research Center. And presently, I'm preparing for my OET exam, and soon I'm going to appear in that. And with the help of Father Salim Joseph, I'm getting prepared in this test. As a holistic education, I would like to say Father Salim has taught us, I think, in all aspects, socially, physically, mentally, and spiritually. He has brought us to a level where everyone can feel comfort and a learning in atmosphere. He's always making things easy for us to understand well, to communicate well, how to describe ourselves well. So he's a good mentor, and I would like to say something about a good mentor. Who is a good mentor? A good mentor is enthusiastic, enjoying the role he's playing in helping others to achieve their goals. And there's no doubt that Father Salim is doing that. He has, privileged many people who were not in that situation to overcome, their problems, but he has made possible for everyone to achieve their goals in their life. Everyone needs their mentor in their learning journey. So you need people who can provide that same level of support in your career. So Father Salim has some good qualities. I want to share that, sharing his knowledge. He's always sharing simple and logical knowledge to us. And he's always enthusiastic in sharing his expertise in teaching and making us understand. And he's always showing us respectful attitude. And he's always eager to share his expertise, knowledge with other people free of cost. So I really want to thank Father Salil and his team for giving us this chance to learn, to explore the skills we have in different aspects. And though I'm very far from Father Salil, but when he's online, he's taking our classes. It always appears that I'm always, I'm just sitting beside him because he explains, he motivates us in such a way that we don't feel, long distances. He's always giving us the level of understanding what we are in need. Thank you so much for sharing and inviting me for this event.
Thank you
so
very much.
Mr. Goel. Thank you, Father Salim.
Thank you very much, Mr. Munawar, for giving your views. And now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and he is Mr. Preju. Mr. Preju, you have heard our chief guest, Dr. Santosh Kumar Patnaik, as well as Mr. Bejnath Pandey, as well as the earlier youth guest. Now, we would like to know your views on holistic education. Mr. Preju, please.
First of all, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I am Preju Raj. I'm a registered nurse by profession. I did my graduation nursing from University of Calicut and my PG diploma in hospital and healthcare management from St. Joseph's University, Pune. Currently, I'm working as healthcare assistant in County Limerick, Ireland. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Mr. Goel and Father Cyril, who gave me the opportunity to take part in this media conference. Thank you very much. And moreover, I'm proud to be with Dr. Patnaik sir and Pandya sir today and other guests also. In my viewpoint regarding holistic learning approach, as we have discussed so far, it's a mix of mind and body thought. Okay, I'm sure with my learning experience with EduScale, it will enlighten your approach to learning. Okay, let's compare about my traditional learning experience with holistic learning experience from EduScale. As compared to my traditional learning experience in my schooling, in my college or whatever it is, I'm learning. I learn to getting higher marks or pass or like that. We are concentrating only for getting marks and scoring marks like that. But when I reach, that's a story about my traditional learning experience. But when I reach in EduScale, I reach Father Selin's class, at my Father Selin's class. First of all, I hear about fall in love. I wondering regarding Father talking about falling in love. Please don't misunderstand about that. Father telling the fall in love with not someone other. Father telling fall in love with the studies, which we are deals with, whether it is OET or IELTS or mathematics or whatever it is. Falling in love with what which we deal with. Okay. And moreover, it's a mixture of approach, and let me use the words empower to empower. That's the main motto of EduScale. It's a collective effort and transformation from ideas and thought, and transfer from one person to idea. Moreover, sharing of thoughts and ideas, and it's an empowering attitude that means supporting and motivating each other through experiential learning. Throughout my learning experience in that EduScale platform, this mainly motivate me to the main platform. I can proudly say the EduSkills platform enhanced my leadership skills to a great extent. And there is one feedback system is also there every day. What we learn about, we have to send the feedback, and that it also helps to improve ourselves and our father things to know our improvements. And Father Selins always says, your mistakes are my syllabus. Okay. And I can probably say that I'm proud to be part of this platform. And moreover, I am the best example. Merely, I'm a beginner in EduSkill. There's a power of Father Salim, and there's a power of experiential learning, as well as a platform of EduSkill. I believe that the current learning system we need to change, because we are learning from traditional method. It's a one-way communication from the teacher, but from my experience, the experiential learning which helps to rethink. So I probably on this occasion probably say, Father Salim, thank you very much to be part of this EduSkill family, and thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Braju, for giving your views. Now, as Father Salim wanted to ask me that he asked me to ask questions to you all. So I am now putting one question. Let's see how much answer you can give. But the time limit is only 1 minute. Please don't cross the time limit, because we would like to go to our chief guest afterwards. So my first question goes to Mr. Ajit. Mr. Ajit, why holistic education is important for digital era?
It is one of the prominent questions. Maybe I missed it out because from my understanding, from my experience of 3 years, what I have understood is in the digital concept, we call it as technology enhanced learning. We call it as TEL. So it is a part of holistic learning. So any student going through holistic learning will have to undergo technology enhanced learning, because this is the need of the day. It is like you cannot go back to the same old traditional system, chalk and board system, wherein it is one of the most important thing to know, computers, technology, and so on.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Ajit. Now my question goes to Ms. Lesson. Is pedagogy same as holistic education?
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead. Ms. Lesson? Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, sorry, can you repeat the question again, please?
Is pedagogy same as holistic education?
No, there is a difference between the education. It's the holistic education we all mentioned in the earlier. Is the molding a student or the learner for making it's like a as a whole. In other education, it's saying it's like it is doing for just academic education purpose.
Okay. Thank you. I am not giving any comments because I would ask our chief guest to give the comment in the last about if your answer is correct or they would like to add anything. It might be correct, but they would like to add anything that will be done by the chief guest because they are expert, not I. Now, my next question goes to Mr. George. Can there be holistic education without including different philosophical topics? Mr. George, are you there? Yeah, please go ahead.
As you mentioned, like holistic learning, it involves all the aspects of a human growth, even intellectual, physical, mental. So when we consider that fact, it should be a general study or it should be experienced to every aspect of a life for an individual to grow. So I feel it's a necessary thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Now my question goes to Ms. Ananya. What are similarities between ancient and holistic education?
Yeah, I think in the old days,
not properly, but try again. We will just see whether you are audible or not.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes.
So in the ancient, I think I don't see much difference between ancient learning system. I mean, particularly when it comes to ancient learning system, I'm referring to Indian ancient learning system, basically the Gurukula Paddhati. So I don't see much difference between holistic learning and ancient Gurukul system of learning.
Ms. Ananya, your voice is not clear. But anyway, yes, please be on mute. I think some problem is there on your side. Please keep yourself on mute now. Okay. Now, my question goes to Mr. Ankit. Who benefits most from holistic education?
Undoubtedly, sir, it's the student. Let me tell you, in holistic education, as I told, that trainer becomes the center, but he takes training into his center. That means the trainee or the student gets the utmost in the results, which I would say, in holistic learning. Therefore, I think the benefits all goes to student, and of course, when student gets all the development, indirectly it develops the area wherever he or she works.
Okay, thank you. Now, my question goes to Mr. Munawar. What are the difficulties in giving holistic education?
As far as I'm concerned, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. There is always, hurdle in every aspect of life. As holistic care education is concerned, every person when preparing for something is always face some problems in getting knowledge, getting material, and but I think getting knowledge, getting prepared yourself to grasp something, it always takes time. It's a slow but steady process in learning. As a holistic education, you cover yourself with all things, all corners of life. So I think getting material or knowledge in holistic education is one of the biggest challenge, and delivering is also a big challenge. How you deliver the knowledge.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, my next question goes to Mr. Preju. What are two best benefits of holistic education?
Thank you, Mr. Goel. I think it's a good question. And my viewpoint is a student-centered. In traditional method, we are only focused on teacher-centered, and it's only one-way communication like this. But in my point of view, is a student-centered. Is of course is a benefit for students. And my second opinion is also, and students can also an opportunity to get like teachers. Okay, in education, in EduSkill platform, and we are learning by teaching also. Okay, we have an opportunity to participate as a teacher, as a mentor, so both will beneficial to the student. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Preju. Now I would like to go back to our chief guest one by one, and they have about 2 to 3 minutes to speak. My thing is that you have heard all our youth guests, and they have given their views as well as they have answered the question which I have raised. Now we would like to know from you your views about the today's conference, as well as if you would like to add anything about the answers which they have given. You are free to do it, but not crossing the limit of 3 minutes. Starting from Dr. Santosh Kumar Patnaik, please.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. I think except for me, everyone in this media platform has spoken so high about Father Selim. I purposely didn't mention his name at the beginning, but I'll be vociferous in mentioning it right now. But for the opportunity that was given to me sometime in the second or third week of December 2018, I would not have got the first-hand experience of the experiential learning. It was due to an invitation from Mr. Father Salim. I flied all the way from Delhi to Belthangadi, the center place for this unique Edu Institute, where I spent almost like 5 days with the students, the BBA, and I think the other students were also, the BBM students were there. So I spent almost like 5 days. I don't know how the time passed of them so slowly, but I never gone with any sort of preparation to teach something to the students. My intention was to get a feeling, first-hand feeling of the Unique Education Institute. But let me tell you very frankly, I think three of the students, Ankit, Ajit, and George, all three are there. I'm glad that I could interact with these three in the group also. The best part of the experiential learning, I could feel it when I was in the classroom. I first time I feel that I can be a very good facilitator, right, while taking a class for students like this for experience learning. When I started with a blank mind, with my own experiences, so the corporate experience, my experience with the Indian Railways, then I asked the students to come forward and share their experience. You won't believe it was such a good learning experience. I slightly beg to differ with Ankit, which he said the students are most benefited. I think as a facilitator, I got a lot of good tests about the experiential learning, which I missed during my young days, during my study days. I think the current bunch of students, the participants, they are all exposed to the holistic learning as propounded by Unique Education, headed by Mr. Father Salid. I think this message will go around and people will start developing this their own ways of imparting the holistic learning to the students. And I'm sure this today's global media coverage conference will go miles in attracting more of students to the holistic learning, and the whole society will respond to it in a positive way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Patnaik, for giving your views. Now, I will go to my next chief guest, and he's Mr. Baijnath Pandey. You have heard all the youth guests. Now, we would like to know your closing comment, as well as if you want to add something about the students, this thing. The time limit is not, please don't cross the 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, first of all. And like you said in the closing comments, I feel that I might not be the best person to do closing comments because of the kind of eminent personalities that we have. But yes, I definitely have certain observations and certain comments. So first and foremost, congratulations to you, Mr. Goel, and the entire team for organizing an event of this stature and of this importance. So, and thanks a lot. I also heard the students, and like Dr. Patnaik also pointed out, and he stated rightly when he spoke about Ankit's point that it's the student who gets benefited. In fact, when I was also listening to him, I felt that it's not just the student. It's every single person who gets benefited out of it. And that is the need of art, because look at the way it is being taught. So as a facilitator, you improve, you learn a lot. In fact, that was my experience as well. When I interacted with the students somewhat close to 4.5 years back, I had exactly the same feeling. Wow, I wish I could be interacting with them a little more. It's going to change my world altogether. So, and then, at the same time, wherever they go, they carry the positive vibes, and the overall society is going to develop. So that's the most important thing. Holistic education is going to change the way the world has been functioning, and that is a need of the hour. And with that, I will take a pause here. So thank you very much once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pandey. So viewers, you have seen today our first attempt for global youth conclave, and it was for holistic education. And the views given by the youth, I'm not talking about the chief guest because chief guest knows the subject well, but the youths have given their views as well as the answer to the questions which I have raised. And I will tell you very honestly, these questions were not disclosed to anyone except it was prepared by me only, although I'm not a holistic education expert. But as our chief guest has mentioned and all our youth guest has mentioned, even a facilitator, and today I am doing that work, I also learned many things. And this is the future. This was the past. This is the present. But this is going to be the future for all educational institutions. And my sincere appeal to not only the civil society, but the educational institution, please develop and start this holistic education wherever in the world, which they are not doing. Those who are doing, my compliments to them. But the way today we have heard, and we have, I need not to mention, but I have to mention again, about the contribution which Father Salim Joseph has mentioned, because without him, we would have not bought this program and we would have not been exposed what role his edu skill international is playing. And this is something which if everyone can play at their own. And I'm sure this our program is going to be a first milestone, and it's going to be more and more, and we are going to bring more such type of programs in near future. Thank you very much. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Karu News, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon se, Samvad Saroka News, Bharat Post News, Gyan, as well as it was also shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor is to bring to you every day new topic. And tomorrow in media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. the topic is importance of internship. And tomorrow again we are going to have the youths guest from around the globe, and our chief guests are Professor Mohanlal Agrawal, President Indo-Gulf Management Association Dubai, and Miss Jarina Rehe Kennedy, General Manager Jump Consultant Ras Al Khamia UAE, and our youth guests are Mr. Ajay Ranjan from UAE, Miss Bharti Tayal from India, Miss Rasha Ahmed from UAE, Miss Suparna Pal from India, and Mr. Vishal A. Revankar from India. So please tune in tomorrow for media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, Dr. Santosh Kumar Patnaik. Thank you very much, Mr. Bajnath Pandey. And thank you all the youth guests for joining us from different countries. I know somewhere it's a night and somewhere early morning, but your views are definitely going to change the scenario, and it will be a very, very good new start for the media conference with Lal Goel, as well as I'm sure the viewers are going to be enriched